I'm Myriam. This is Philibert, and
I'm Tanguy, and we are Mighty Van. And so behind us is our home on wheels. This is a 2015 Ram ProMaster that we've self-converted. It took us about a year, and we've been traveling for 6 months now.
it was like completely empty. You could like hear yourself echoing inside, being like, "Hail, hail, hail." Our main concern was the safety of the dog when we will be on the road, and he's been crate trained, and so we wanted to add a crate to our build. Figured out that the best way of adding it without losing too much space was to make it also our sitting area, so our bench, and also our a bit of a storage. So here, everything dog related here, and his bowls and the little camera to check him when we're not inside the van and we are worried. For the sitting area, we also have an addition that is also storage because everything needs two purpose or three. So it's that. So it gives us like a L shape when we eat. We put our lagoon table here.
We had a couple of things that we didn't really want to compromise on. The first one, Miriam said, is the dog, so we have his crate. And the second one was the shower. We wanted to have the ability to take a shower on the road. So we incorporated that in our build, and you're looking at it. It looks like a closet. It actually is a closet when it's not a shower. It's also our toilet. You can see right here. But if we take everything out of here, we have our shower head right behind it. We have our curtain that goes all the way around, and we're able to take showers. And so we wanted to keep it open so the van would feel really like an open space, and we didn't want to have a big box that would take all the room. And it's been working great. We also have a water heater in case we want to like take showers when it's cold outside.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a challenge to figure out how to get the water drain to work properly. So the sink and the shower both go underneath the van. So we have a grey water tank that's mounted underneath the van. Don't know if it's really standard plumbing that I did, but it works. So all in all,
It's Vanlife standard.
Yes.
Grey water tank is not great for winter because it's outside, so
Yes.
it freezes. And it happened to us at the beginning of our van life journey during the pandemic in Ontario. And that was no fun, but we were not planning to be in Ontario for the winter. That was not part of the plan.
We're French and we love cooking and eating. And so the kitchen space was also a big concern for us. We have what we consider to be a big countertop space. We have the ability to have our induction cooked up because everything in the van is electric. We don't have any propane or anything. We also can put our cutting board right there, and we still have lots of space around that. Have our own setup of watching TV shows. Just putting a tablet like this because it takes about an hour of cooking usually.
Yeah, 45 minutes an hour.
Yeah, it's also a good space if I ever want to work standing because I work inside the van. So sometimes I work standing up, so I can put my laptop here. We wanted a fridge big enough to be able to be on the road for up to a couple of weeks. And so we found this fridge that is really, really big and with a freezer, so we were able to store everything we need. The rest is mostly storage. We have all of our drawers. We found these little plastic things to do the separations in the drawer, so it's less of a mess, even though we still stuff a lot of things in here. We have our plates, we have our smoothie. We
have enough power to have the Ninja blender running. Yeah. So we use it for different things. So smoothie, I will not say every morning, but almost. And we also do our own like Nutella and things like that. So we're also like crushing nuts and things like that. So kind of like a requirement because it's our home. So it's not like we're living on a camping trip for just a weekend where it's okay with the cooler. Yeah. We wanted to be able to eat whatever we would be eating in our condo. And I wanted to be able to cook with not too many limitations. Of course, the limitation is no oven. But otherwise, I barely see the difference with before. So that was important for me to really feel at home.
We wanted a very simple, I guess, design.
Yeah.
And so we've kept everything white with touches of blue and copper. You can see it here. You can see also on the DIY shelf that we did here with the copper pipes right there to store our spices and all of that. Inside here, it's pretty much everything.
It's food.
Yeah, everything food related is up there. Our backsplash here is actually stick and peel. We didn't want to go through the process of like putting actual tile on here because when we started the van, we had no experience in woodworking, in electrical, in plumbing, nothing. This is our very first big project that involves like building anything really. And so we learned the rest, but we if there's something we could avoid learning and doing another way, we went for it. So this is stick and peel.
So if you ever build a van, you know how complicated it is to put a piece of wood that's gonna have the shape of the metal and everything. And we started to do all those weird cuts, and we were like, how are we going to hide that? This has been the perfect solution to hide it, to also add a bit of insulation because it's 3D foam. So in terms of sound and temperature, it helps also. Just when you sit here, you're feeling something that is like tender, smooth. It's not like a hard wall. So this is nice.
Another thing during our layout design was I'm 6 feet tall, so I wanted first to be able to stand. So that's why we chose this model as well, the ProMaster, because I'm able to stand as well as sleeping widthway. We wanted a fixed bed in our layout because we didn't want to have to go through every morning like putting our bed back into a bench or whatever. And so we have our fixed bed and I'm able to sleep widthway, so we have more space here. Myriam mentioned this hides the bad woodworking behind it, and this back there, all the leaves, hides the metal of the van because it's also weird cuts that we didn't want to have to do. And so we just use, I think it's IKEA.
It's IKEA.
You can find them at IKEA. And it's great. You just screw them to the metal and it hides everything. It's mostly clothes right there. This is Myriam. This is me. But that's not it for you.
No.
Right behind you is another storage option.
I've got issue with clothes, definitely. And I know that. And I even realized it even more when I had to pick whatever I was going to take in the van. But I couldn't not take everything. So I've got my own small narrow closet that is opening like that, so it doesn't take as much room as a normal closet because everything is sideways, but I can have a lot of my stuff. Like I don't miss any of my clothes. I almost have everything with me, so it's kind of great. And same thing with shoes. I realized that traveling in a van, you don't need your high heels or whatever. Yeah, like I'm not going to a office job and I'm not going to a party or anything, so it's mostly for like all the type of shoes, but still I like to have options. So
So we'll show you our eating setup. We have this table that we can put away. It's a lagoon system, so it's pretty standard, but we've attached it here. So that way we can have either a dining table like this, sitting one here, or if you raise that up, it can be extra counter space if we ever need some more space for cooking.
And also your desk.
And it's also my desk because I work remotely. I'm in IT, so I'm on my computer most of the time. And this is a perfect desk to work on. And we can just put it away right here if we want to use the space without having to remove the table. So it's been great. And you did a great design on it. Yeah. We've repurposed coins that are no longer in use, I think.
Yeah.
And so we've made that design, and it's epoxy and it's been really solid. We made it possible to have an actual bed frame that's using slats. I think they're also IKEA slats. And our mattress is a memory foam mattress that is not actually that thick, but with the slats it's been very great for support. when we sleep, and we've had actually amazing nights. Like I sleep better here than I did at my apartment before, so it's been great. And that way the mattress is not too high, and so we still have a lot of space here, which allows us to just sit over there and use that as a chilling setup as well.
So since spring and especially summer, when we were in the west and in Alberta, we had a heat wave. So our salvation have been our window and our max air fan, because it allowed to create like an airflow right in the middle of the van, and this has been great because just having that airflow was cooling us down a little and make it bearable, because like AC was out of a question in the van, and otherwise if it's getting too hot we just decide to drive and to have a bit of the AC from the driver section. Yeah. But definitely that window is very important to us.
And it runs on 400 watts of solar panels that we have on top. We have 4 solar panels. We have 200 amps of lithium battery that are inside here. We have our 2000 watt inverter, which allows us to use our water heater. That's 112 volt, that takes a lot of power. We can use our cooktop, we can use our blender, we can use all of that, and we never ran out of power, and we never had any surges or whatever, so it's been working very well. We're able to fit another drawer in between the big one and the bed, so it's mostly socks, underwear and all of that. And we also have our air heater that comes out here. So it's summer right now, so it hasn't been used in a while, but it saved us really for the winter that we actually had to spend in Canada, but we didn't plan to, and it was really a game changer. So it's a diesel S-bar heater that's installed in the back underneath the bed. We asked Ray Outfitted to install it, and they figured out a very smart way to do it, because our van is gasoline, and the heater is diesel. And so we needed an additional tank for the diesel, and the tank didn't fit in the ProMaster engine area. So we'll show you at the back. So this is what we call the garage area. It's mostly storage. We still have our water system on one side with our fresh water tank and the water heater that you can see here. On the other side is all the electrical. We didn't want them to be next to each other because water and electricity usually doesn't match well. This is a support that I did because I'm on this side of the bed, and so I didn't want to find myself into the garage when I slept. So this just lifts up, and we can open our drawers right here, where we have everything from food, yeah, it's mostly food as we mentioned, to everything we need that we don't use on a regular basis, but that we can easily come back here to get. We have our water heater. It's a 110 volt water heater, so it runs off the inverter. It takes quite a bit of power, so usually we use it for like 15-20 minutes, but it's been working very well. We bought it off of Amazon, and one thing that's great with this one, it doesn't need a drain valve, so it's just inlet and outlet, because we didn't have enough room here to have a drain valve. So this model has been working very well for us. Electrical, we also have the DC to DC charger, so if we're ever in an area where it's not sunny, the batteries are still charging when we drive the van. So that's been really helpful as well, because we've done a lot of driving, and so we've done a lot of charging the batteries. This is the diesel tank for our diesel hair eater. So Ray Outfitted installed it, and this is a cool way. It's mounted on the back door, and the fuel line goes right here, and it goes through the door underneath the van. So they really did an amazing job of finding that spot to install it. It's really easy to fill up. We just have to open the back door and fill it up from here. And I figured I might as well use the space around it, so I built little storage boxes where it's again electrical stuff I use more regularly to fill our water, and if I ever need to fix something on the electrical, which I haven't so far. So
we love taking pictures, we love animals, we love wildlife and chasing wildlife. And each time we went to parks, we were like, oh, we need a better way to observe without being seen or annoying the animals. So we decided that the best way would be to go on the roof. So we added a few weeks ago a deck over there, and we actually have been able to use it for wild oh, how do you call that? Oh no, you know, they're jumping on the water.
Kite surfing?
Kite surfing,
Oh,
yeah.
right.
So we've been able to use it for wild cat surfer and buffaloes. Have our ladder here, and just with that we can climb and go there, or if we don't want to exit the car, because if there is an animal around, you don't want to exit the car, just from the bed we can crawl up on the roof and enjoy our patio there. So we're from Europe, and when we moved 4 years ago in Toronto, we thought it would be easy to discover Canada by just doing weekends, because in Europe it's easy, everything is pretty close and not too expensive. And then we discovered that to go to Vancouver it takes time or a lot of money, so we decided that we needed to find a way to be able to discover the country, because we love our life in Toronto, but we still wanted to know more about Canada and to see if we wanted to stay in Toronto or live somewhere else. The best way to travel and really have the feeling of a place is not to stay 2 days, it's to really stay long enough in a place. Tiny house on wheel, that's the perfect thing, because like that we can be at home, have the comfort of our home, and still be able to travel and discover places. So for now, that has been the reason why we started Vanlife. Because of the pandemic, we can't really do more than that, and we still have our cats in our condo in Toronto. So before we figure out something maybe to be able to travel with our cats, for now it's traveling with the dog around Canada and discovering the country.
What have been some of the benefits that you found in this lifestyle?
I think the main benefit is that whatever we do during the day, wherever we go, we always come back to our safe space, our home, which is the van.
Yeah.
And we sometimes forget, even when we're just driving and the only place we can sleep at is a Walmart parking lot, we forget that we're in the middle of a parking lot in the city, or to us it's just home, it's just like being at home. And so to me that's the most important part of it. It's like whatever you do during the day, travel, hike, whatever, you're always at home at night.
We were not the type of backpacking, and I always hated to have a suitcase with me, open it in a motel, and the next day you need to open it again and sort it out again. Like the fact that we are like snails traveling with our everything on our back. Sometimes when I walk by the van, I'm just like, it doesn't look like we could have our home here. Still, sometimes I'm amazed by that, because I'm like, gosh, it looks so small from the outside. How can it be our home and feel so homey?
What kind of advice would you give to somebody that's thinking about doing van life?
My first advice would be do research, because a lot of people did different things in a van, and definitely you need to figure out what is the best layout or the best little storage addition, or the best thing that is for you.
Yeah, the essentials. What you consider essentials. Like for us, we had the concern of the dog, but also the shower was essential. So how do we fit a shower inside our build?
Yeah.
So really go through everything that you need and that you feel you'll be more comfortable with traveling and that you can't really live without. For Myriam it was closed, so we needed storage. We don't feel like we're minimalists, but we had that thought of the more space we have, the more things we need to fill it with. And so we realized we don't need that much space, and we've been fine living in such a small space here.
And why did you decide to build out a van yourself as opposed to just buying something ready-made?
Of course, budget.
Yeah.
That is a big part.
Yes. Yeah. We first looked at renting a van, but we wanted to travel for a year, and renting is always more expensive. And renting for a year was near impossible for our budget. So we started looking at buying a converted van that was still pretty expensive. And I've always had that.
And it was hard to find a van that already had everything we wanted.
Yes. Like woodworking, electrical, water, plumbing, or whatever. We didn't have any experience in that.
We work with digital. We work with computers.
But I always had that feeling of wanting to do something with my hands, like mostly woodworking. We saw a lot of tutorials and people doing it themselves, so we figured maybe we can do it. And so watching videos, getting inspiration, one day we just thought, okay, let's buy the van and let's give us a year to build it out. And that's how it really happened.
And what have been some of the challenges that you've faced in this lifestyle?
The biggest challenge was due to the pandemic. We've had to spend part of the winter inside the van, and we definitely didn't build our van for winter. Living in the van, the whole experience, we haven't had many challenges. It's been actually more comfortable than what we anticipated.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say that the only challenges was maybe because of pandemic again, and we are baby van lifers that started our van life during the pandemic. So for us, it was like finding water, finding public toilets sometime, but now we figure out how to do it in the van, so we don't need that anymore. But finding water and dump station was a challenge because pandemic, everything was closed, because it was still the winter in Ontario, so everything is shut off. After the rest is like owning a house. Like, you've got little things that you need to twist and to change, and all those little issues that any type of homeowner has anyway. So I would say that nothing is specifically challenging with the fact that it's a van.
If you had to sum up, what would your personal philosophy on life be?
I always do or think of what I'm gonna do next as I don't want to have regret. Okay, it's a bit dark, but I want the day I'm gonna like die and I be on my bed and die thinking that I did everything I wanted to do, and I was not afraid of doing it or finding excuses to not do it. Like for us, for the van, we had tons of reason to not jump on it. Like, we had cats that stayed in our condo. We needed to find people to stay in our condo, taking care of the cats for the time we're going to be traveling. We have a dog, and it could have been like, people could have used that as an excuse. We didn't know how to build anything. And it's just, to me, is we're always going to find a solution if we want to do something, and we just need to do it, because like that will not regretting not doing it.
After the van, we were talking about another project of building our own house, like a container house, if I can spoil it. Yeah. And yeah, definitely it's really an accomplishment to have built the vans ourselves, and it makes me a little more confident going into a next project, which could be building a house or even renovating an existing house, or I don't know if we'll do another van build, but yes, definitely tackling on bigger projects than this.
It's opening a door.
Yes.
Like, we've always been growing up in cities. Like, we were in Paris before, then we moved to Toronto, so big places.
Yeah.
And learning also to live with the sun, not going to always be so stressed out, or being like going to work, finding friends at the restaurant, and then going to bed and work, and again, like not having that life also is very nice, because it's new for us. So I would say also that was a learning of experiencing life in a more natural path and rhythm. That's very interesting also.
Yeah.
And where can people find you if they want to follow your journey?
So we have an Instagram account that's active. So the name of the van is Mighty Van, so MYTVAN, because Myriam, MY, and T, Tanguy. I know that's clever. And so the Instagram is mightyvan.adventures.
Hey everybody, it's Forrest the filmmaker. Hope you guys enjoyed that episode of Alternative Dwellings. If you want to see more, playlists are popping up right now where you can watch all of our archived episodes. Or if you want to see new ones, make sure to subscribe, because they premiere at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every single Monday. Hope to see you guys there.